Hello, my name is Alex Hornstein. I'm the founder of Ventilator Project. Today I'm going to show you how to assemble patient circuit number 2 with a home use CPAP and an oxygen treatment hood. What I have with me are the kits in the evaluation kits, the parts in the evaluation kits for patient circuit number 2. So you should have a home use CPAP. This is a ResMed S9. There are many different models of CPAPs that we ship. All of them do functionally the same thing, which is to provide PEEP up to 20 centimeters of water pressure. All of them have that capability. There is a air tubing, a 22 millimeter air tubing. There are 2 oxygen enrichment adapters. There is a PEEP valve, an oxygen treatment hood, and 2 viral filters. If you are going to use these in your hospital, you will need a ready supply of viral filters. These are the consumable for the circuit. The other thing you'll need in your hospital is an oxygen supply, including an oxygen hose, standard hose that can plug in to the oxygen enrichment adapters. You'll also need, of course, a flow meter. My suggestion is to get a flow meter that can go quite high as possible. Some flow meters max out at 15 liters a minute, and that will limit the FiO2 you can deliver to your patient. Now I want to be very clear, I'm not a doctor, so I can explain how the machines work. I cannot tell you how to use them. The best bet there is to look at the patient protocol written for this circuit at ventilatorproject.org/protocol. The latest protocol is always there, and that is written by doctors for this exact use. So to assemble the circuit, we're going to attach 2 of these oxygen enrichment adapters, and this will feel a little unusual. I'll explain why in a second. 2 of the adapters and 1 viral filter. The oxygen is going to go into the second one, the one closest to the viral filter. This one you are going to leave open and unattached. After this, we're going to put in the oxygen tubing. On the oxygen treatment hood, there are 2 22 millimeter ports and 1 port for access to the patient. Both of these 2 ports are the same, and you can use either one depending on which one is more convenient for your bedside setup. So we're going to connect this directly here. On the other side, we're going to place the expiratory filter and a PEEP valve. The PEEP valve is adjustable, and I'd like you to open it all the way up. So the minimum PEEP is 5 centimeters of water pressure, and I'd like you to set it to that and keep it there, not adjust the pressure here. The reason for that is we're using this as a commonly available flow reducer. The flow reducer lets us build up PEEP within the hood, but you also want as little flow reduction as possible, because you want sufficient flow to go through that it can continually flush out carbon dioxide and ensure that your patient is not rebreathing old air. I mentioned there's this port here. The port serves a few functions. One of them is you can give a patient water or liquid food through a straw. Also, if there were a power outage or any blockage, a patient can open it, and this is something that you should communicate to the patient, could open that in an emergency to allow air to flow directly into the helmet. It's worth noting that when this is open, you should consider yourselves exposed to the air that the patient is breathing. When it is closed, the viral filter is filtering out any excess air, any excess virus that is there, and you can assume that there is not airborne virus coming from your patient into the room. This expiratory filter is the part that will change most commonly. In the US, hospitals will change that every 8 hours. So that is the consumable for this circuit. To turn it on, you'll plug in your CPAP and push this button. That will begin air flowing. If your oxygen treatment hood is crumpled, that's fine, that's how it comes. You'll see, especially if you seal this off, it will quickly inflate and pump right back up. You'll also take your oxygen line and plug it directly in to the second oxygen enrichment adapter. And that lets you take the flow and adjust your flow directly into the patient circuit. Now, this oxygen enrichment adapter, this is very counterintuitive. It's not extra. It's actually important that you leave it open. And you'll see that this is going to allow air to flow out. The reason for that is that these machines are designed for home use, and they are designed to try to detect if the tube is blocked. And if so, they will turn off. The way they detect that is they see if there is a very low flow going from the machine into the circuit, because they can sense flow within the machine. In the case that you are running high oxygen flow here and relatively low pressure here, air will come out of the machine and hit your oxygen flow, and that will form like a wall of air. If this opening was not here, there would be a very small amount of air that would be able to flow out of here. The machine could detect a low flow state and turn off. And you do not want that. Specifically, one of the cases that you do not want to happen is if your patient starts to drop their oxygen saturation, you crank up flow, and then you very quickly see the CPAP turn off and you lose PEEP. That's obviously not a good situation. This circuit allows air a pathway to come out, and so your CPAP will not go into a tube blocked state as long as you have this circuit in here. That's why that's important. Another thing I should mention is when you put this helmet onto your patient, do it without turning on the CPAP. And the reason for that is you want to first tighten these straps under the patient's arms. If you turn on the CPAP without tightening these, the helmet will puff up and kind of puff and apply pressure to your patient's nose and mouth, and this neck seal will push and get in the way. It's not a critical problem, but it is uncomfortable for the patient and it is avoidable. And the way you avoid it is to just tighten both straps down under the patient's arms, and you should do that before applying pressure through the CPAP. That is kind of the mechanics of putting this together. If you have any questions, if you see any issues, you can, the best way to comment with Ventilator Project staff or other doctors who are working with these is to go to forum.ventilatorproject.org, and there is a forum specifically for talking about these patient circuits. The other option is you can directly email me at alex@ventilatorproject.org. As I mentioned, this is not a protocol for use. There's a separate protocol video and protocol written by doctors indicating how this should be used with a patient, and that is available at ventilatorproject.org/protocol. If you have any questions, concerns, issues with your system, please post on the forum or let us know, and we will do our best to help. We hope these are useful for you, and and we hope you stay healthy. Thanks for your time.